In my opinion, 98.6 Degrees, The Art of Keeping Your Ass Alive, by primitive skills and wilderness survival expert Cody Lundeen, is one of the most important books you will ever read in your life. And not just because this book can most certainly help prevent you from losing your life when it hits the fan.
Don't you want a balloon?
No, not that it. Oh yes, this book can most certainly help to prevent you from ever having to win what I like to call the shitty lottery. And the shitty lottery is pretty much as it sounds. It's the exact opposite of the good lottery. The one where you win all that money that you think is gonna magically make all your dreams come true. No! The shitty lottery is a nightmare in every sense of the word. The shitty lottery is where you suddenly find yourself lost in the woods without a map. The shitty lottery is where your car breaks down in the middle of the desert and you don't even have a single bottle of water to your name. The shitty lottery is where you suddenly get snowed into a cabin for days and maybe even weeks on end. And finally, the shitty lottery is most definitely where you're on a plane that crashes out in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness with nobody to keep you company but Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins. And a bear. Bear! This is the shitty lottery, everyone, and this book can most certainly help prevent you from ever having to win it. Because just like the old New York Lotto jingle goes, New York Lotto, hey, you never know. Somebody's always gotta win it, folks. And this book is most definitely gonna give you some serious common sense basics to help keep you alive in whatever shitty lottery situation you may find yourself in one day. Basics such as, number 1, always leave a note. When you go on a trip or take a hike in the ancient wilderness, always tell people where you are going so that if you do get lost or something happens to you, people will soon notice and they will immediately contact the necessary authorities to have people start looking for you and hopefully save you. Because surprise, surprise everyone, get this. Turns out that most people who get lost in the wilderness or have a boulder crush their arm, it's almost always on just some stupid day hike and nothing more. And no, most people don't call or leave notes when they go out on a hike because it's just a simple day hike. Nothing's gonna happen to me, right? Wrong. You idiot! Now you gotta go chop off your arm. My fucking arm! So, always leave a note. Number 2, always pack the proper amount of clothing for whatever environmental situations you may run into. Because according to the author, Cody Lundeen, and he's absolutely 100% right about this one, clothing is your first line of defense in the outdoors. It is your lifeline. It's nothing less than your personal shelter, and if it's not up to snuff, for just how long do you expect to last out there? Fun fact number 2, everyone, most people lost in the wilderness don't die from bear attacks, or even starvation, you know. They die from exposure. They die from hyperthermia, too hot, hypothermia, too cold. So always bring an extra hoodie and some wool socks. Bear! And finally, number 3, whenever you go out into the ancient wilderness, or just traveling around, always have a good survival pack with you for emergencies.
Excellent, Snake.
A kit that you personally put together yourself, not bought. A kit that, should you find yourself lost in a disaster situation, it is going to help you stay alive until either A, you finally make your way back to civilization, or B, rescue workers find you and hopefully get you out of there. Now what exactly does a good survival kit entail? Well, that's one of the main reasons why you really should buy yourself a copy of this book. Cody Lundeen is going to teach you just about everything you need to know about it. And this is all really good, fantastic, no-nonsense stuff right here that will most certainly help to keep you safe whenever you are venturing out into the great outdoors or whenever disaster strikes. But in all honesty, this is all really just the tip of the iceberg of everything this book truly has to offer you, should you ever sit down to read it, because this book does not just change how you perceive the savage ancient wilderness. This book changes how you perceive everything, because everything is in fact nothing more than a great big savage wilderness. Always has, always will be. Because when you break it all down, when you really break it all down, whether you are trying to survive out in the wilds of Alaska, or the boardroom, or the courtroom, or Hollywood, or the publishing industry, or the music industry, the world of organized labor, the world of organized crime, the world of prison culture, nerd culture, YouTube culture, whatever culture, when you break it all down, what is really the difference between all of these things? And here, let me answer that for you. What's the difference? There is no difference. There is virtually no difference here whatsoever at all between all these things, because just because humanity once advanced and evolved and left the woods and caves behind some 12,000 years ago, it does not mean that in any way we have ever in fact left the wilderness behind. It's just that the wilderness has in fact simultaneously advanced and evolved with us the entire time. We never ever left the wilderness. Take that, anthropology professors. We are all still savages in the wilderness dancing around the fire. And as you know, some of us survive and some of us don't. And I don't know about any of you, but I really want to survive. And if you want to survive too, and not just in the physical sense, but what about the mental sense? What about the emotional sense? What about your hopes and dreams and ambition sense too? Don't you want to survive in these ways too? If you do, then you need to have the proper attitude. You need to have the proper mentality to survive, because 90% of everything is psychology, is mentality. And if you don't believe me, just go ask wilderness survival expert of over 30 years and author of the book Cody Lundeen, because he's going to tell you the exact same thing. Cody Lundeen has over 30 years of experience. Cody Lundeen has over 30 years of wilderness survival experience under his belt. And he personally says that survival is 90% psychology. He says that survival is 90% psychology. Therefore, if your psychology, your mentality, if it's not up to snuff, you're done. You're done like dinner, bro. At whatever it is you're trying to do, according to him and also to me, in the end it will not matter what gear or what supplies or what connections or skills or talents you may think you have, or what Armageddon gear you have buried in the backyard even. If you are an emotional basket case at whatever the hell it is you're trying to do, you are toast. You are done. It's that simple. So to survive at whatever it is you do, the most important weapon, the most important tool you will ever have in your mental survival kit is a good survival mentality. And if you're wondering to yourself exactly what a good survival mentality entails, well, strangely enough, to find out, let us turn to the very pages of 98.6 Degrees, The Art of Keeping Your Ass Alive, to see what Cody Lundeen has to say about it. And strangely enough, I'm not kidding here, also what Wayne Campbell and Garth Algar from the comedy classic Wayne's World also have to say about it. What does it take to have a good survival mentality?
Party on, Wayne! Party on, Garth! It's Wayne's World! Wayne's World! Party time! Excellent!
Bear! Everyone, that's it. That's really it. And I know that sounds crazy because it sounded crazy to me when I first read it, but that's really it right there. That really sums it up. What it takes. Well, that and I guess just keep swimming, I suppose. I'm not kidding here. Party on. Because not only is Cody Lundeen a huge Wayne's World fan, for Christ's sake, he even kind of looks like Garth, but that perfectly sums up his entire 30 years of survival experience. There are many reasons why I enjoy Cody Lundeen so much, but the biggest has got to be that his work is not just some stupid how-to wrestle an alligator with your bare hands and 3 easy steps crap like that book. No, there is a serious, thought-out philosophy behind his work, and that philosophy, in 2 words, is party on. Holy smoke! We lost our last match and there's a storm coming. Party on. A flash flood swept away all our gear and we're 20 miles away from the trailhead. Party on. I can't get my novel published and everybody thinks I'm a dick. Party on there too, man. Because here's the thing. Here's the trick. I know a lot of us don't like to realize this, but 95% of just about everything that happens to us is completely out of our control. But the one thing that is always 100% in our control is how we always choose to emotionally react to it. How we choose to emotionally react to the things that happen to us every day. Yes, that is our choice. And to really get more specific into it, Cody Lundeen describes it to be a rational insanity. He says, and I quote, "During a survival episode, you'll be taxed to the limit on all levels. And in order to prevail and mitigate the panic factor, you'll have to be as cool as a cucumber. You'll need to approach your situation in a somewhat detached and rational manner, while gearing up your mind and body to accomplish the insane, if necessary, thereby smashing all self-imposed limitations, funneling the intense energy of insanity and uniting it with the sound coolness of rational decision-making creates a potent force for emergency situations." Now notice that he said for emergency situations, but personally I think Party On should be used for just about everything. All scenarios, because most of our lives are such damn emergency situations every day in the first place. You know what I mean? Because like I previously have already said, we are all still just as trapped in the savage wilderness as we always have been, and always will be. Life is an emergency situation, everyone. And to hack it, you need a strong survival mentality. You need a strong focus, which is exactly what I feel a good survival mentality provides you with. Focus is quintessential in just about everything we do. It is the key ingredient, it is the special sauce. And it's also worth mentioning that it is something incredibly hard to come by these days in the world we live in today, in our mass media, social media, masturbatory, instant gratification soaked society that we live in every day. But tell me this, everyone, riddle me this. If you suddenly found yourself the winner of a shitty lottery situation, if you suddenly found yourself lost in the ancient wilderness of trees and dark and bears, in the middle of the night, cold as hell, rubbing some sticks together, desperately just trying to get a fire going, so you can somehow live throughout the night, are you going to be focusing on any of that other crap anymore always bouncing around your head? Are you going to be focusing anymore on credit card payments or Facebook followers, or whether or not you're getting too fat and should maybe join a gym? Are you going to be focusing on cutting coupons anymore, or what's on sale at the local GameStop, or whether or not you should give grad school another try? No, you will not be focusing on any of that crap anymore. You will not be focusing on anything but getting that damn fire going. And you will finally know what it's like to be 110% focused on something that has absolutely nothing to do with sex or a taco buffet, or sex at a taco buffet. And finally, you will know what it feels like to have your mind briefly transform from a dim, flickering ceiling light bulb with all of your millions upon millions of often petty, simple, pointless thoughts always bouncing around everywhere, never penetrating anything, never accomplishing anything really, to instead finally knowing what it's like to feel your mind become a laser, a pure and focused laser of enlightenment. And I don't know if any of you have seen them Star Wars flicks, but damn, lasers get shit done. So do not wait until you are in such an emergency life or death situation to discover your mental powers of focus and a good survival mentality. Learn it now, because not only will it help to prevent you from ever being a shitty lottery recipient in the first place, those who can do this on command, whether it be in the ancient wilderness or Hollywood or Silicon Valley or wherever, they are the ultimate survivors of the wilderness. They are the ultimate winners of the game as we know it. So train your mind to sometimes be a laser. Not just a light bulb all the time. Train yourself to evolve and become one of nature's greatest survivors. And I genuinely think that reading Cody Lundine's book, 98.6 Degrees, The Art of Keeping Your Ass Alive, and going outside and tinkering with some of the things he teaches in the ancient wilderness to be a great place to start. I'm Justin M. Bailey. Thank you very much.
Who's laughing?